Hey everybody, Ken here with another lantern episode for you. In today's episode, we're going to be restoring this Rayo 92 lantern. Now, I got this a while ago. It's pretty good shape. Everything seems to be pretty good, except the crown. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if somebody tried to electrify it and put a bulb in there or what, but it's kind of messed up, and it's missing the pull tab also. So, yeah, a while ago, I said I was going to replace it. I have actually another one that I was going to salvage and do kind of a transplant. But the more I'm looking at this thing, I don't really think it's all that bad. I think it just needs a little bit of TLC, and maybe I can get it going again. In fact, I kind of want to just leave the old paint on there. So yeah, the one I was going to replace it with is just all rusty. I was just going to have to get that kind of going again and paint it, but since it won't match the rest of the lantern, and the more I'm looking at it, I think I'd rather try to give her a go to just try to repair the original one here. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that off, see if I can straighten it out, and yeah, like I said, I don't have the pull tab for it, but it's the same. Here's the Tiger, by the way. Still no progress on this here. No further. It's another rainy day here. It's a Saturday here, and yeah, so I need to go outside and do some more paint stripping. So can't get back to that for now, but it has the same type of pull tab that I'll need for that. So just so happens to be that I have this, which is the same diameter metal that I can fabricate a pull tab in. This, believe it or not, was like from an old chafing dish, I believe. Found it in my neighbor's garbage, by the way. Something that was garbage picked, and yeah, I saw that right away. I said, oh yeah, it looks like the same diameter metal, pull tab. Good lantern stock material. So yeah, another thing rescued out of the garbage. And the other problem is the metal to hold the pull tab. Now, I normally use these F-clips. I normally go to my big box store, Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever, buy these. These are in the electrical department, and they're called old work box electrical supports or something like that. You get them in the electrical section. They're like 69 or 79 cents a piece. They're real cheap, and they normally work out really good, because for your more modern lanterns, the width of this tin and is pretty much spot on for your new pull tabs. However, it's about a 1/4 inch short of it's kind of hard to see, but take my word for it, it's about a 1/4 inch shorter than what I need for this guy. So I need something a little wider. So the only other tin I have is what I would normally use for the replacement bottoms for the founts, which is a heavier tin. You can't really bend that. It's not really that bendable. So what I'm going to attempt to do, tuna fish can. I just so happen to have a tuna fish can, and if you noticed, the side wall of the tuna fish can is just about the size that I would need for that, and I'm sure it'll be a nice bendable metal. So what I'll do is I'll snip a nice strip of that out with my tin snips here, and yeah, I think I might be able to rescue this thing. So why don't we go ahead and get started and see what we can come up with. First, I'll need to do is remove the crown, and the way I normally do that is by taking a knife and just freeing up it is painted, so you have to be able to just get under the tabs, free them up a little bit. I mean, there may be some residual paint under there. Yeah, this one's gonna fight me a little bit, but yeah, just pry up ever so slightly, and then after that I usually go in with my heavier duty utility knife, and then you're able to actually lift them up, pry them away. This one's already out. I don't know what happened there. It may have gotten dropped or something, but be that as it may, we'll work on the rest, get them up. And you know what, I forgot to grab my needle nose pliers too, but that's okay. We'll see what we can do with this here. little by little. And they're coming. They're coming. This one may give me a little trouble here. I have to go in on the side of this one here, but let's see what we can do. And just work that in there ever so slightly. Yeah, that's gonna be tricky. That's gonna be a tricky one. Yeah, that one got a little. That one's a little more bent than what I like it to be. There we go. I think we got it. Yep. Okay. Now, I'll just cut away a second while I grab my needle nose pliers. Okay, got the needle nose pliers. And now what I'm going to do is try to reach under there and start bending these up very carefully and as straight as I can. Just kind of roll them over and get them as straight as I can. Try not to break them, however, if you do, it's not the end of the world, because we do have some of that tin that I just showed you, which is perfect for retabbing also. Just have to solder it back on with some high temp solder. Not the end of the world, but if you don't have to, trust me, it's a lot easier just to do it. Alright, this one looks like it's already underneath. Alright, looks like they're free. So then what I'm going to have to do is just kind of work this up. Yeah, we almost got it. Except for this last one. It's kind of hanging on for some reason here. There we go. Alright, got her off. So yeah, there we have it. Let's inspect the tabs. But yeah, the one that was already pre-bent, yeah, it looks like it's okay. It might be salvageable. It was already bent underneath. Like somebody probably dropped this thing at one time and probably caused that. But we might be able to, yeah, it's all bent up, isn't it? Might be able to salvage it. Yeah. Flatten it out best we can, straighten these out. Yeah, it's a little, I don't know, it's a little short actually. It looks like the very tip of that may have been broken off, but maybe okay. So we got that off for now. And by the way, it looks like this lantern is going to need a good cleaning too. I mean, I've done nothing to this. I bought this several months ago, and it's just been sitting out here in the garage. It's going to need a good thorough cleaning. In fact, it was a little bent. If you can notice, it's a little sitting crooked a little bit. I'm going to probably have to tweak that a little bit too, but we'll get that. Next thing, of course, forgot my jeweler's hammer. So we're going to have to grab a jeweler's hammer, and let me see if my handy cameraman can help me out here. Thank you. There we go. So it's good to have. I recommend a good jeweler's hammer too to help you straighten these things out. So now what I'm going to do, this thing is all bent. I'm going to just start working on it and see how far we can get. See how straight we can get. Oh, yeah. And some bend there. You just kind of take your time with it. Sometimes, you know, what I end up doing is just, you know, using scraps of wood to support on the side of it. You know, you have to, there's a big bend on the side. Have to try to just work on it little by little and try to get this, you know, as close to the original back as we can. It's coming out. Yep. Yeah. See, there's a big dent there. I got that out, and yeah, still not too happy with that. And it's very rusty underneath too. So what I like to do is when I have these things off, I clean the rust up as good as I can, and then what I do is I just take some cheap paint. Get this at like Lowe's for like like $1.50 a can or something like that, and just give a couple good coats underneath, and that helps preserve the thing for the life of it. So I'll probably do that. I'll probably work on this for a while. And I mean, it already looks a whole lot better. And but I like to get it. I like to get them as good as I can. You know, I can get them almost factory looking. I'm not still, you know, still kind of learning it, but I've had them worse than that, and I've got them better than that. So we'll cut away for a little bit now, and we'll come back and let me work on this for a little bit more, and we'll see what we got. Alright, so I'm back after taking a few more minutes. I mean, I got this thing probably about as good as it's going to get. Straight as I can get it. I got most of the dents out. I mean, I'm happy with it. If I can get a pull tab in that again and back on there, I'll be good to go with it. The only thing I'm not happy with is I don't like all that rust in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and I got these great little wire brushes. I'm going to clean that up real good, get as much rust as I can out of there, and then I'm going to give it a couple good, real quick zaps, like I said, with this just cheap spray paint, just to give it a good protection from and keep it from any further rust. So without further ado, I'll get back to that a little bit, and then we'll get back and we'll show you what that looks like. Alright guys, so spending a few more minutes cleaning this up, and what I realized is I got a couple stress cracks here where I straightened it out. And in fact, it almost looks like it goes through right here. Don't know if you can see that, but there's a pretty good crack here, and it's starting to crack here. Kind of don't like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a couple blobs of solder on there to reinforce that before I paint it. So yeah, that'll hold it really good. I got some high temp solder here, which usually works out to be a little higher temperature than what you run the lantern at. So it usually don't have to worry about the heat from the lantern, you know, remelting it. So I'm going to go ahead and flux this up really good. And then I got my iron here. You could do this with a torch too. I have to. Sometimes I use the torch, sometimes I use the iron. I find that I can control it a little better with the iron, especially if it's not too much of a heat sink, as in this case it's pretty thin tin here, so I should be able to achieve a pretty good solder just with this heavy duty. I think it's a 100 watt. Yeah, it's an old Archer 100 watt solder iron here. So we'll get that good and hot. It only takes just a few minutes or a few seconds here. And let me see. Trick is to get it to flow. You got to clean it real good, get it to flow, and it's flowing. I know you probably can't see what I'm doing, but I'll hold it up for you when I'm done here. Get a little bit more on there. Want to totally cover that crack so it doesn't. A little more on the other side there. Probably a little more flux. Doesn't have to look pretty either because it's on the inside. Yep. Alright. Yeah, that's pretty hot. Okay. Yep. So covered the crack up real good, so that's not going anywhere now. Let me get the other side. Probably be a little more generous with the flux because it's kind of hard to get it to stick. I mean, I did sandpaper it, cleaned it up with sandpaper as good as I could. Still tough. There we go. And a little more generous with the flux. And there we go. That'll stop that thing from cracking any further, that's for sure. Alright, so there we go. So we put two dead stop spots on that from those cracks from expanding out any further or going anywhere. So that should be nice and solid now. So what I'll do is I'll I'll wash this up with some soap and water, dry it real good so I clean the flux off, and then sort of give it a couple coats of spray paint so the spray paint sticks really good, and that'll stop the rest of it from rusting. And we'll be back in just a magic moment of video time. Alright guys, so I'm back magically, and that fast. That's pretty amazing, huh? So, alright, so here's what we ended up with. So I soldered up the cracks, and then cleaned everything up, soap and water, dried it out real good, and then I gave it a couple shots of paint. Paint's still a little wet, so we'll just continue to let that dry. But what we'll do, we have to make the pull tab, so I'll set that aside. So like I said, I'm using my Tiger for a reference because it's essentially the same lantern. So what I'm going to do, the curve is about the same as a 3/4 inch socket. So I'm going to go with a 3/4 inch socket to make my pull tab. Pretty close, should be close enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and chuck that up in my vise with the soft jaws, of course, so not to damage the socket. We don't want to break the socket. We want to get it tight enough. Okay, and so then what I'm going to do is cut myself a nice length of this wire, the straight part. In fact, I might as well take as much as I can of the straight part here. Hopefully, I think I can cut this with the lineman's pliers. It's pretty tough stuff, but it does cut. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to bend this now around the socket. Yeah, it's actually bending pretty easily. So I'm going to form this around the socket. Squeezing it all along as I go. Okay, it's getting a little tight. Alright, come up with something like that. Just for comparison, let's see how close we are. Well, what do you know? What do you know? I'd say that's pretty close. I'd say that's a pretty good. However, we're not done. Now what we got to do, now the trickiest part is we got to make some 90 degree. We got to bend it 90 and make the flats. So that may be the tricky part. So yeah, probably yeah. What I probably would have should have done is maybe made myself a guide here. Maybe take a Sharpie or a marker or something like that. And I think I have one here. So we want to indicate where we're going to put our bend. So we want our bend to be approximately there. Okay. There and there. Alright. So now let me put back this excess wire. Hopefully I won't need it anymore. Okay, so what I got to do now is I'm going to probably have to chuck this up in the vise. Maybe get rid of the soft jaws because I'm going to need a good grip on this at this point. And yeah, let's see. Probably something like that. Okay. And then what I'm probably going to have to do, yeah, if I can get it in there evenly. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to try to bend these 90 degrees now. And that may be a little challenging. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Just bend them right on over, and then I'll cut off the excess. I might want to use my hammer just to bend that. Then, actually, maybe what I should do is probably maybe get a cut on there first. Yeah. So what I'm going to do with that is, okay. probably, yeah, I probably should have cut it first. Because I don't want to bend the other side on top of that, because I'm not going to be bending at the same point if I do. So let me just cut some of this off. If I can get the lineman's pliers under there and snip it somewhere around there will be fantastic. Yeah, that will be good. Oh boy. Why did it get so hard? Okay, there we go. Alright, then let me bend that back over. Okay, so now I can grab this here at the same point and bend this at a right angle. And that actually felt like it moved a little on me. Yeah, it's not secure in the vise. I'm going to turn that around. Put that, of course I got the mark on the other side now, but let me put that on that mark. Somewhat like that. Okay. Alright. Then let's try to bend this. Yeah, that's tighter now. Okay. Then maybe we can hammer that over. Alright. And let's see what we got. Okay. Alright. It's kind of acceptable. Alright, let's see how it compares. We'll just have to cut off the, yeah, that'll do. Look how close that is. We'll just have to straighten it up. And what I might do is I might just take a hacksaw, cut them right that way. They'll be exactly right in the middle. Yeah, you know, that's a good thing. We could probably just cut them right down the middle with a hacksaw, right in the vise. That might be the cat's meow on this one here. Let's see. Okay. And then what we could do is tuck in the loose ends with the lineman's pliers. And maybe just square it up a little bit. The jeweler's hammer. Doesn't have to be perfect, don't forget, because this is the part that's going to be under the metal strap. And then what I would do is maybe just cinch it together a little bit with the vise. Alright, there we go. And there's our pull tab. Let's see how, yeah, I think that'll do. I think it's pretty close. It's actually just a tad. We could bend that down just a little bit yet, but yeah, it's just a tad taller. We could just hammer that down just a tad. Yeah, I think that'll do it. Pretty close. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see how that's going to look. Let's see how that's going to look with the strap. Yep. Yeah, I think that'll work just fine. Still wet. Still a little wet. Yeah, we're going to have to let that dry. But now we can start making our strap. So let's put this back. Let's get rid of our scrap pieces here. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to take my tin snips. I'm going to try to cut myself a metal strap out of this can here. Now it's got a rolled edge on one side and a flat bottom on the other. So we're going to have to cut past the flat bottom. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to just basically cut this out of here, and then I'm going to have to cut the rolled edge off on the other side, being careful not to cut myself, because this is really going to be sharp. And you know what, that's probably going to be more than more than enough, so I could probably just cut it straight up at this point. And then what I'm going to do is now I'm going to cut this edge off. All right, first off, let me just straighten it out a little bit. It would be better. Okay. Let me check the width on that. That's going to be perfect. When I cut off that rolled edge, it'll be perfect. And we'll just we'll sand it down, file it down a little bit because it's a little rough. Yeah, that should be more than enough to do what I have to do with it. We can get rid of the rest. Straighten that out. Alright. Check the width of that. Yep, more than enough. It's probably still too wide a little bit. I could probably just trim that up a little bit. Maybe it'll neaten that up a little bit actually too, if I be able to get a better cut on it now that it's off the can. I'll just take a sliver off of that. Yeah, very nice. There we go. Now it's something to work with. Okay. So, let me get back to this. And let me see if I can straighten this out just a little bit more. I think I'd almost want to just tighten it up. Let's see. Yep. Pretty good. That looks pretty good. Okay, so what I usually end up doing, how I usually end up doing this is, well, first off, you have to make sure that it fits into the slot. Does it fit into the slot? Still doesn't fit into the slot. Okay, so we gotta go just a little bit more. Let's see. Okay, alright, let's test that now. Does that fit into the slot? Yep, we're into the slot. Perfect. I like it nice and tight. Just it should be fairly tight. Alright, and then what I do is then I'm almost wondering, this is kind of on the thin side. I almost wonder if I should just double this up actually, because the tin that I normally work with is usually a little thicker than that. So I may just double this up. I may just double this up to start with, because we got way more than enough what I need. So let's go ahead and double it up. Yeah, that's a lot better. Then bend this around here. Like that. Then I would insert this into here, and of course, you know, I made it not, probably should have trimmed it just a little bit more, but we still can do that. And it's just a little tight. That's okay. Just a little bit more, because it's probably not perfectly square. Not a perfectly square cut, but it doesn't have to be. Yeah, it's probably gonna. Let's see if that'll go. Yeah. You know, we could always open that up with the file just a little bit too. That's why we got the files here. If you have to, if need be, just hit the sides. And I may have reduced the size of it with the solder. get the other side. Yeah, that's what it is. The solder actually reduced the... Alright. Let's try this once again. Fold it over here. Put it in here. Alright, just a little bit. Yeah, so you can see the solder. The solder right here is actually hanging over the edge a little bit. So we'll just hit that with the file. Yeah, did too good of a job with the solder now. Okay. Yeah, that's not even hardly filing. Okay, let's try it like this. That's the problem. The solder's harder than the tin. Okay, so let's try this again. Let's see what happened here. There we go. And I guess normally what I would do too is I would kind of bend this around. I should kind of bend this around the pull tab. I'm not used to working with a double like this. Like I said, I'm used to working with that other kind of metal, but maybe this will help. Yeah, if I could just flatten that a little bit. You know, maybe I shouldn't have doubled it. But it's going to be nice and strong once it's in there, that's for sure. Yeah, now we got an edge here. Okay. There we go. There we go. There we go. Then you pull this tight. Oops. And pull it a little too tight. Alright. And I'm going to have to hit it back a little bit. And, yeah, it might be a little too tight. There we go. That's better. Alright. Okay, now what I'm going to do is kind of fold this against itself and then hit it with a hammer so that it doesn't come out. Yeah, it's the first time I'm doing this with the can. I don't normally do this. It's not really working out as well as I would have thought it would have, but yep. There you go. Something that looks like that. Alright. I probably should roll this just a little bit better here. But yeah, not the best tin to work with. If I had to do it again, I would have probably got a wider. Would have looked for those E-clips and a wider, but they probably don't make them. The fact, if I was using the right kind of tin that I normally use, it would have. It's just that tin just did not really want to cooperate with me. Yeah, we could put this on the vise. Maybe work it a little better that way too. Yeah, even. Yeah, I'd like to get that in just a little bit better. Yeah, that's better. And it kind of rolled on me here. I'm kind of not too happy with that, but Well, we'll cut away, folks, and then I'll be back. I have to straighten it out just a little bit better than that. See if we can get it a little better. Alright, so I fooled around with a little bit the best I can. I got it pretty good. That's pretty good. Like I said, it's not really the tin that I'm used to working with, but it's acceptable. It's nice and strong. It's not going to go anywhere. What I'll do is I'll put this back on and then cut away, and we'll show you the finished product. Alright, so I put it back on, bent the tabs back over, and there we have it. Whoa, strong as anything, but you guys, as you see, I gotta clean the rest of the lantern now. So there we have it. So if I get this guy cleaned up again, I'll have her burning again, but I'll probably leave that to the next episode because I'm exhausted, guys. But thanks everybody for watching. Everybody take care, be safe. We'll see you real soon with another video. I'll have this burning for you next time. Bye bye.